Okay, so let's. This is 250 week 5, part 7. All right, cool. Um, so let's talk about the most famous example of a simulation that everybody knows. This is going to help make sense of Baudrillard. The most famous example of a simulation in movies is the movie The Matrix. If you've ever seen The Matrix, it's the story of this guy who's like a regular dude. He works in an office job in the city. And he finds out Morpheus, who's and the guy's played by Keanu Reeves, and Morpheus, who's played by Lawrence Fishburne, tells him, "Listen, your whole life is a lie. The whole world is a lie." And he gives him this pill, and it like wakes him up into the real reality. And he wakes up in this like crazy world of like giant killer robots, and the sun has been blocked out from planet Earth, and all of these things. And he's in a science fiction battle against evil robots. So what was all that shit where he was in New York City, with his day job and stuff? And they tell him, well, that wasn't real. That was a simulation. It was fake. And they said, see, what the robots did was the robots plugged something into your brain to make you've been living in like a little bubble. The robots had you trapped in this bubble, and they're using you for power. But in order to keep you alive, they just programmed your brain to make it think it was running around modern day New York and going to a shitty job, but none of that is real. It was what you thought was your life, what you thought was reality, was actually just a simulation by the robots that are trying to keep you trapped. And now that you're woken up, you can go and fight the robots with us. That's the story of The Matrix. And I'll put a trailer for The Matrix on there so you can see what it is. So, what's funny about this is that early in the movie, and I'll try to put a clip of this up if I can find it. Early in the movie, there is a clip of, because Keanu Reeves' character works in an office, but he's also a computer hacker. So these people come to him and they need like a secret disk for some bullshit or whatever. So they go to him and they knock on his door and they say, "Do you have that secret disk?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got the secret disk," or whatever. He pulls a book off the bookshelf, and it's one of those, like, the book is hollow inside. It's really just like not really a book. It's just a thing he's using to hide the secret disk. And then he gives him the disk and he closes the book and he puts it back on the shelf. If you've seen The Matrix, you probably don't remember that part. It's not a very dramatic part, but I remembered that part because I freaked out when I saw it in theaters. Because the book that he's got hollowed out to hold the disc in, the name of that book is, and you probably know where I'm going with this, the name of the book is The Procession of Simulacra by Jean Baudrillard. I think it's called Simulation and Simulacra. But the point is that the philosopher reading now, Neo from The Matrix, has a copy of that book in his apartment. And it's like a funny in-joke. Now, most people are not going to get that joke, but I was a philosophy major when I was in college, and I knew who Baudrillard was. And when I went to the movie theater, I was like, holy shit, are they putting a crazy French philosopher into this movie? And it turned out it was a great choice, because the movie is about how the whole world is a giant simulacra. And so what book does Neo have in his apartment? Simulation and Simulacra. It's like a little hint from the people directing the movie. Here's the theme of our movie. So, fun. All right. So, what he tells a story. The beginning of Baudrillard starts out with there's another short story writer named Borges, and he summarizes the story by Borges. The point of the Borges story is he says, imagine a king that wanted to make a map, but he wanted to make a map so detailed that it was the exact same size. A map has the streets on it. Cool. But what if the map also had all the buildings, like each individual building? Cool. What if the map also had, you could see each brick in each building? What if the map also had every single person and where they were and what they were doing? What if it also had what they were thinking? What if it had every little scratch on what if you dropped your wedding ring and it was on the map showed exactly where the wedding ring was, and it had a thing that looked exactly like your wedding ring, and your wedding ring got scratched and the scratches on the map too. Like, imagine, it's not a real story, but imagine a map that's so detailed that every single thing is on it. The whole point of a map is stuff's not supposed to be on it. That's what makes it easy to read, right? You just go down the street and turn here. But they don't tell you there's like dog poop on the corner of the thing, because you don't need that for the map. You just need to turn. They just tell you, just when you see the Duane Reade, take a left, right? But they don't tell you each individual business. They just give you like one business, and they go turn at the Duane Reade, take a left. Maps are simplified. But in the Borges story, and Borges, by the way, is a great short story writer who you should definitely read. Borges has a short story in which this guy makes a map that's so detailed. And in order to make it accurate, because he wants to make an accurate map. Again, picture Plato, art is a copy of reality. Pope, art is a copy of reality. A map is a kind of art, I guess. And in the Borges story, they want to make this map a copy of reality. Well, one of the things they do is they decide if this map's really going to be accurate, it probably ought to be the same size as the country we're in, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what they do. And so they make this giant map that's like the same size and shape of the country. And then what happens is the empire disintegrates. Like the king, I don't know, the king dies and war comes or whatever. And all that's left is the map. So now you're in this fucked up position where there was a reality, and then the map was a copy of reality, and then reality disappeared, and now all that's left is the map. We're in crazy French philosophy territory here. Now that you know that, it's probably not going to help you much more with that, but I'm going to read the first paragraph anyway because it'll make a little bit more sense. If we were able to take as the finest allegory of simulation the Borges tale, where the cartographers, that's map makers, of the empires draw a map so detailed it ends up exactly covering the territory, but where, with the decline of the empire, this map becomes frayed and finally ruined, a few shreds still discernible in the deserts, the metaphysical beauty of this ruined abstraction, bearing witness to an imperial pride and rotting like a carcass, returning to the substance of the soil, rather as an aging double, ends up being confused with the real thing. This fable would then have come full circle for us, and now has nothing but this discrete charm of a second-order simulacra. I can't deal with that paragraph, and I'm basically skipping it. I've summarized what the story was about, and that's what you need to know, but I can't fucking deal with that right now. So let's keep going. Oh my God, I'm probably gonna flip out and not do. I may flip out and not do this. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna give it a try. So he says, abstraction today is no longer that of the map, the double, the mirror, or the concept. Okay, let's slow down and start. Let's give this a try. So first of all, what is abstraction? Abstraction is when you make something simple. Something abstract is something simple. So, for example, let's say you're going to build a building, and building a building is going to be extremely complicated, okay? But basically, you know that your building's going to be like square-shaped. So do you see how a square is an abstraction from the building? The building is real. The building's complicated. It's got individual bricks and little keyholes and doorknobs and all that shit. But you know what? Do this a different way. You ever seen a little kid draw a picture of a house? It's like super simple, right? The little kid doesn't draw every little brick and every scratch in the pavement. The kid if your kid wants to draw a house, they just go house. They just do a square and they put a little triangle on top, and there's like one window and another window and a door. And they're like, that's the house. And they don't have a doorknob, right? They don't have like the welcome mat with the exact word written on it, right? They just draw, they're like, it's a square. That's basically it, right? And it's not a square. First of all, it's a cube. It's 3D, but kids can't draw 3D, so they just draw a square, and then they put a little door in it, and they're like, that's a house. So that is an abstraction. It's abstract in the sense that concrete is something real and physical that you're looking at, and abstract is something simple. So it's a simplified version. And I hate to tell you this because you're going to hate this, but math is abstract. The whole point of math is to be abstract. They teach you what numbers do, right? You have to take all those classes and learn all this shit about numbers, and 2x plus 4y equals whatever. And the joke is like, what the hell are we counting? Like for what? To what? Like when you're in math class, they teach you all this shit with numbers, and they're like 2x and 4y, and then you're like, for what? Like, I understand the answer is 4. 4 what? 4 chickens? Like 4 apples? 4 explosions? What are we counting? Math is abstract because you can use it to count anything. It doesn't. But that's one of the things that makes it confusing for students. Is my students often think concretely. They want to talk about individual examples, and math tends to have no examples at all. It's just numbers. And the point is you can use a math formula to count chickens, or count explosions, or count stars in the sky, or count rice in a bowl or whatever. And you can do. If 2 plus 2 is 4, if it's 2 explosions, if it's 2 chickens, if it's whatever, 2 hats. I don't know. Math is abstract. I'm going to pick this up in the next video. But the point is that art is an abstraction from reality. There, I made my point. See that? Because it's like you have reality that's overly complicated, and then when you make art about the reality, it's an abstraction.